Good morning, children. Okay, children, how are you? Okay. Children, let us learn about the fiber to fabric lesson in science. So, in the last class, we are learned about how the cloths or fabrics are made. It involves two processes called knitting and then weaving. Through this process, the fibers or the threads or the yarns are used to make the fabrics, is it? And then that fabrics are used to make the variety of clothing items, is it? So about this we learned in the last class. So now we are going to know about the history of clothing material. Today we are going to know about the history of clothing materials. Set. So children, have you ever wondered what materials people used in ancient times as a cloth or for cloths? Have you ever wondered what materials people used in ancient times for cloths? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹಿಂದಿನ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಟ್ಟೆನ ಇನ್ವೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕೆ ಮುಂಚೆ ಕ್ಲಾತ್ಸ್ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಇನ್ವೆಂಟಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಕ್ಲಾತ್ಸ್, before knowing about the cloths, how the people they are used, what materials the people used to cover their body as a cloth. Okay, it appears that is there is in ancient times people used the barks of the trees and leaves of the trees or animal skin or fur to cover themselves. So in ancient times the people used bark of the tree or leaves of the trees or animal fleece or animal skin or fur. These type of the materials are used. These type of the materials were used by the ancient people to cover themselves. Is it? In ancient time, the people were used. They were used the bark or leaves of the tree or instead of it they can use animal skin or fur. So animal skin anna adra fur anna the ancient people used as a cloth. So animal skin or fur used to cover themselves. So ಇದನ್ನ ಬಟ್ಟೆಗಳ ತರ ಅದನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಯಾರು ancient people ಆಗಿನ ಕಾಲದ ಜನ ಈ ತರ bark of the tree ಅಥವಾ leaves of the tree or animal skin or fur. So this type of the materials are used by the ancient people to cover themselves. After people began to settle agricultural communities, what is that meaning? So after knowing the agriculture, then the people learned to weave twigs and then grass to make into mats and baskets. Okay, after people began to start the agriculture or after knowing about the agriculture, after people began to settle in agricultural communities, what happened? They learned to weave twigs or leaves or grass to make into mats or baskets. So using the leaves or using the grass or twigs of the leaves, the people know how to weave the mats or baskets. about agriculture, people learn to weave the mats and the basket using, yes, twigs, plants, twigs, and then grass. Using this, they are converted. They are used these things to weave the mats and then basket. Learn to weave the baskets, and mats using the twigs and grass. Using this material, this grass and twigs, the ancient people, they learned to weave the basket and mats. So when after knowing about the agriculture, okay. So have you seen the vines? The stem of the vines are the grapes, and then animal fleece or animal egg. So they are, twisted. These sets of the egg, they take on some eggs or the animal fleece or stems of the vines. Then they are twisted. They were twisted together. Then they converted. They made into a strands. Okay. So vines. That means stems of the grapes or vines, animal fleece or egg were twisted together. Hairs are, they are twisted together, then they are made into strands. So these strands are woven into fabrics or cloths. ಆ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿಸಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಅದನ್ನ ಏನಾಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು, ಫ್ಯಾಬ್ರಿಕ್ಸ್, ಕ್ಲಾತ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಓಕೆ, ವೈನ್ಸ್ and then animal fleeces or hair, they were kept together and then they are twisted together. They are made into, yes, strands, long strands. So ದಾರ ಥ್ರೆಡ್ ಆಗಿ then yarn ಆಗಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಟ್ವಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಓಕೆ, the stems of vines and then animal fleece or aid or fleece, they have same meaning. Okay, aid means fleece. Okay, the stems of vines, animal fleece or aid, they were twisted like this. They are twisted together into to make long strands. So ಆ ಹೇರ್ಸ್ ನೆಲ್ಲ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಸೇರಿಸಿ ಟ್ವಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡ್ ಅಥವಾ ದಾರದ ತರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ದೆನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು woven them or woven into cloths or fabrics. So then these are woven into fabrics or cloths. These strands are then used to make or woven into cloths or fabrics. Okay, then the early Indians, the early Indians, they wove fabrics. So that was made out of cotton. That cotton was grown in, cotton grow in the regions near the river Ganga. So the early Indians, they wove the cloths. So that cloths are made out of cotton. That cotton or grown, that cotton were near the river Ganga. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗಂಗಾ ನದಿ ದಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವು ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ಬೆಳೀತಿದ್ರು. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಟನ್. ದಟ್ ಕಾಟನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ದ ಫ್ಯಾಬ್ರಿಕ್ಸ್. ದಟ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ cloths made, that is using the cotton, it is worn by the Indians. It was happened during the early time or during the ancient time. So the early Indians, they wore the fabrics made out of cotton that was grown in the region near to the Ganga river. Okay. ಸೊ ಗಂಗಾ ನದಿಯ ಹತ್ತಿರದಲ್ಲೇ ಕಾಟನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬೆಳೀತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಆ ಕಾಟನ್ ಇಂದ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನ, ಕ್ಲಾತ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನ ಕಲಿತು. ದ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಲರ್ನ್ ಟು ವೇವ್ ದ ಕ್ಲಾತ್ಸ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ದ ಕಾಟನ್, ಅಂಡ್ ದಟ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಕಾಟನ್ ಕ್ಲಾತ್ಸ್ they wear themselves, is it? And this was happened in the early time. So the early Indians wore the cotton cloths. So that was grown near the river Ganga. In the early Indians, they wore fabrics or cloths made out of cotton that grew in the region near to the river Ganga. Sept. Okay. Then flax is also another type of the plant. Its stem is used to make the cloth. Flax is also a plant that was also grown. So that fabrics, that fibers are used to make the fabrics. That's also natural fabrics or natural fibers. So flax is also plant that gives natural fibers. Using these fibers, people learn to make the cloth or to make the yarn, and then yarn and turns into converted into fabrics for cloths. Flax is also plant that gives natural fibers. Is it, children? Plants, cotton, flax, they are also natural fibers. They give natural fibers. Using these fibers, people they made to cloths. First they convert the fibers into yarn. That yarn is converted into, that yarn is used to make the cloth, used to woven the cloths. Flax is also a plant that gives natural fibers. Okay. So then in ancient Egypt, do you know about the Egypt, children? It's also another country. It has some river is there. It's a very longest river in the, it's the longest river in the world. So name that river, children. It's a Nile river. So in ancient Egypt, they also grow cotton as well as another flax. So these were cultivated in the near the river called Nile. So and then they use this type of the fabrics or their fibers to make the fabrics. So then these fibers are used for making fabrics. In ancient Egypt, the people grow two types of the plants cotton and then flax. So these were cultivated near the river Nile and were used for making fabrics. Understand the children? Egypt allo study. ಅಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ people, ಅಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಂತಹ people. They also grow two types of the plant, that is cotton and then flax. So using this, they make a fiber. So then that fiber is used for making the fabrics. Understand the children? In ancient Egypt, cotton as well as flax plants they were cultivated near the region, near the river called Nile and were used for making cloths. In ancient Egypt, in ancient Egypt. Egypt is a, yes, it's a country. So cotton as well as flax. So these are the plants. They were cultivated near the river Nile and were used. Their fibers are used to make the yarn, and then that yarn are used or woven into fabrics. Were used for making fabrics or cloths. Okay, these are all about Egypt. So in those days, stitching was not known by the people, is it? In those days, stitching was not known. So then, how the people they invent how the people they use the cloths. So people simply simply drape the fabrics around different parts of the body. They don't know how to stitch the cloths. Okay. In those days, people they don't know about the stitching. People simply they drape the fabrics around different parts of the body. In those days, what happened? They don't know about the stitching of the cloths. Is it? They don't know about chudidaras, they don't know about t-shirt. Is it? So they only know about the fabrics. They simply drape the fabrics around different parts of the body. In those days, stitching was not known. They don't know about stitching, and then people simply they drape the fabrics. They drape the fabrics around the body. Okay. Then many different ways of draping fabrics were used. After that, the people know about different ways of draping the fabrics. Many different ways of draping fabrics were used after this. Before that, they don't know about how to stitch the how to stitch the fabrics, and then many draping ways, many different ways of draping fabrics were used. So andre just ಅವರು ಕ್ಲಾತ್ ನ ಹಾಗೇನೆ ಹಾಕುತ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಫ್ಯಾಬ್ರಿಕ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಸ್ಟಿಚ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಟ್ ಮೆನಿ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ವೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ wearing the fabrics they know. Okay children, and then with the invention of the needle, or with the invention of sewing needle, people they started stitching cloths, stitching fabrics to make cloths. So after knowing about the sewing needle, with the invention of the sewing needle, people started stitching fabrics to make cloths, to make different cloths. So only they know about the fabrics. It is not stitched, it is an unstitched form. So in that form only they wove the fabrics. They cover their body using only the fabrics. They don't know how to stitch the cloth, because till that time there is no invention of sewing needle. With the invention of sewing needle, the people started stitching the fabrics to make cloths. With the invention of, what is that? Sewing needle. People they started stitching the fabrics to make cloths, or different types of the cloth items. Is it children? So after knowing about sewing needle, they start to stitch the cloth. Stitching, that is the correct spelling. Okay. So, but even today some people, so stitching cloths have gone through many variations since this invention. What is that meaning? After invention of this, so stitching different types of the cloths, the people stitched. So variation, they have stitching cloths have gone through variations. Many variations have taken place in the way of stitching cloths after the invention of sewing needle. Understand children? After the invention of sewing needle, so there is many variations have taken place in the ways of clothing, stitching the cloths. Stitching cloths have gone through many variations since this invention, since the invention of sewing needle. Stitching cloths have gone through many variations. Since this invention. Since this invention means since the invention of sewing needle. So children, after the invention of sewing needle, the people stitch many types of the cloths. There is a many variation in the stitching of the cloths. So cloth and stitch mado ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ವೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಟಿಚಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ದೇ ನೋ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಿ ಇನ್ವೆನ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ sewing needle. But even today children, sarees, some people they wore sarees, dhoti, lungi and also turban. So it is used as an unstitched piece of cloths or fabrics. Is it children? But even today there is an amazing to see that. What is that? So So even today some people, they wore the dresses like sari or dhoti. They wore the fabrics like sari, dhoti, lungi and also turban. So these are used as an unstitched piece of fabrics. So they are not stitched. So sari it is not stitched, is it? And dhoti, lungi, turban, peta. They are even today people use this, but they are not stitched. They are used as an unstitched piece of fabrics, is it? Even today, people used the sari, dhoti, lungi, turban. So it is used. They are used as an unstitched piece of cloth, piece of fabric. Is it? So then, just as there is a variety, a large variety in the food eaten all over all over our country, is it, children? So just like that, a large variety of fabrics and clothing items exist now, is it, children? Now a large variety of the clothing items and fabrics are available or exist. So children, just as there is a large variety in the food items, is it, that is eaten all over our country. So children, all over our country the people eat varieties of the food items, is it? So just like that, a large variety of fabrics and clothing items are also available or exist, isn't it, children? So that is used by the people. So ಹೇಗೆ food ಅಲ್ಲಿ varieties ಇದೆಯೋ, so cloth ಅಲ್ಲೂ varieties ಇದೆ, children. Okay, just as there is a very large variety of food items that is eaten by the people all our country, is it? So just like that, a large variety of the cloths or fabrics existed. Okay, these are all about the history of clothing materials. So children, in the simple way we can know about how the fibers are converted into fabrics. I am going to write. So it is very useful to remember how the fibers are converted into, or how the fibers are made into the fabrics. There is a simple way. By knowing that sketch, we can understand how the fibers are used to make the fabrics or cloths. So first one, cotton rolls or cotton buds, cotton rolls, and then this one is, yes, it is used for ginning, isn't it? So cotton rolls, this one is used for ginning. What is the meaning of ginning? Separation of the fibers from the seeds. It's called as ginning, is it? So then this cotton rolls are used for the ginning process, and then we can obtain the material called fiber. We will obtain the fiber of the ginning process. Then this fiber is converted into yarn, is it? So these fibers are converted in what it is that? Yarn, is it? By which process? By the spinning, is it? By the spinning process. So these fibers are twisted and then some machines are used. By this they are converted this fiber into yarn. So two sets of yarns, two sets of the yarns, they are set together, is it? So before that fibers, it is converted into yarn by the process called spinning. The fibers are twisted and then it is converted into yarn, is it? So then the yarn it is used. The yarn it is used, is it? For what? To convert the fabrics or cloths. So yarn is used to make the fabrics by two processes called knitting and then another one is weaving. By these two processes, yarn is used to make the fabrics. So it is a simple way we can understand how the cotton ropes or the fibers are converted into or made into fabrics. First, cotton ropes, that is used to get the fibers by the process called weaving, and then these fibers are twisted and made into yarn by the process called spinning. From the yarn, using the yarn, 2 or 3 sets of the yarns are, they are together, they keep together and make it into fabrics. Or some by the knitting process, by knitting process, the yarn is used to make fabrics. In this process, we use only a single thread, a single yarn, is it? So single yarn is used to make the fabrics. To that process we call as knitting. In the weaving process, two or three threads, they are keeping very close to each other, they kept together and make the fabrics. That process we call as weaving. So that means yarn is used to make the fabrics by two processes called knitting and then weaving. It is a simple sketch. By this we can understand how the fibers are made, how the fibers are used to make the fabrics. Okay children, I hope you understand about this lesson. We will continue in the next class. Thank you.